Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Thursday, January 6th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are somebody that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about the tool of technical analysis and how it can be used to build good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Before I get to the watch list, I just want to first personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'll be offering. So if you're liking what you see as I go through the video and you're wanting to learn more about this tool and how it can be used to help establish consistency as a trader, then definitely get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, then there's an area right there on the web page that you can click on to get signed up. So like I said, if you're liking what you see, certainly get signed up for this free class. A couple of quick clarification points before I get to the stocks here. First off, I will be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks, as they're called, represents 30 minutes worth of time. And then next, the market is still open for a little while. So I bring that up because you're not crazy. That candle there, the final one, is still going to be moving. But I like to do these when the market's still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting price action. But the overall and general levels and principles that I'll be talking about will still pertain as we head into Thursday. So first one here, ticker symbol TSLA, Tesla. And a very rough day, as was the case with the market. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these lines up here, which were from previous videos, as they serve their purpose now. But just as a quick little recap, Tesla, for the most part, was doing a good job. It was maintaining above that area of support that I talked about in yesterday's video. But eventually, when that green line and then the purple line there, which is the key, that purple line being the very famous 50-period moving average, once those areas were broken, you can see the rest was history and the floodgates opened up to the downside. So what I'm going to do now is adjust this green line down to what I think a lot of people will be watching as the next key area of support, right down there around 1063, 1060, just because that's a gap close location. Now, let me be very clear. Gaps do not have to close. So I'm not saying that for sure guaranteed the price is going down to 1060. Because again, if gaps had to close, that would imply that there is a such thing as a guarantee in the markets, and there are not guarantees. But would it be shocking to see the price head down to that 1060-ish range? I don't think anybody would be shocked to see that. But if it does, that's certainly going to be a very key area of support because of that gap close nature. If there is any sort of attempted bounce back in the upwards direction, then an area of resistance at this point is going to be via that trend line right there, which puts the price right up there around, let's just call it 1115 as the main area of resistance with any sort of bounces back upwards. So yeah, rough day for Tesla for sure. Next one here, AMC, and this will mean a bit more to those of you that watched the video from yesterday because I talked about this bear flag that had formed, and you can see today nothing crazy, nothing out of the ordinary, just a classic technical formation, bear flag, and then got continuation to the downside. Quite a bit of continuation, but overall that level has served its purpose, so I'm going to get rid of that. And we'll talk about some of the newest levels here to keep an eye on moving forward. But as far as levels of resistance are concerned, key level now going to be about that resistance right there, which is approximately, let's just call it the $24 mark. So if there are any sort of bigger type of bounces, and to give some credit where credit's due, this final 30 minutes that you can see right there, there is a nice little green candle here that's starting to form, but is that the start of something bigger? That remains to be seen. But if it does continue to bounce, like I said, the main question mark in my mind becomes, okay, first off, can it even get up to $24? And if it can, then how will it behave at that point? So keep an eye on that from the resistance side of things. And then as far as supports are concerned, nothing fancy or complicated here at all. Literally just a question of where did the bleeding finally stop today? And that was down there at about 2235. So 2235 will be the main area of support for that reason, like I said, and that reason alone. It was simply where the buyers finally stepped in and stopped the bleeding. Next one here, FAMI, and let me just get rid of these lines. Talked about this from yesterday. And as of now, it's looking like a classic gap and trap. What do I mean by gap and trap? Well, the price closed right here on Tuesday, opened up right there, made a little move upwards, and then when you stop and think about it, there are some poor souls that were buying up around this area, and then from there, just continue to trend lower and lower. So as far as today, a gap and trap, but emphasis on the word today, because when you take a step back and look at multiple days, the overall chart is still trending upwards. I mean, you have a set of lows here, you have those lows, you have those lows, you have these lows down here, and if you envision each of those as stair steps, the stair steps are still trending in the upwards direction. So yes, today was very bearish with the gap and trap, but again, that's today. Looking at multiple days as we're doing here, you can see the trend is still progressing upwards, and that'll still be the case, in terms of being an overall bullish chart. Now, unless the price just completely collapses and starts to crash through all these stair steps, well, then at that point, yeah, the stair steps are no longer there, and the overall chart has also changed bearish. So yes, today in and of itself, bearish day. But overall, still bullish because you're putting in these higher bases, and that's why, that's what matters most from a trend building perspective. So the trend is still up, so let's see if the price can work on building another higher stair step on Thursday. Next one, PLTR, again, will mean a little bit more to those of you that watched the video previously, but I talked about that green line there being a very important technical level at 1780, and you can see that once again, earlier on in the day, did a good job, maintain the support, but wow, once that support was finally broken right there, I mean, like Tesla, the floodgates just opened up, so that's going to be our first key update here, and this is just based on that foundational rule. When levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So if there are any sort of bigger bounces to the upside, 1780 is now going to be that initial area of resistance. But as far as supports are concerned, we've got to go. In fact, I might need to change timescales here. Yeah, it's been such a long time. I'm going to go ahead and change from the 30-minute to the daily time frame. Wow, even with the daily. There we go. So we are going way back into the chart's history. It's been a long time since the price has been down around this area. So next key area of support going to be right there at $16, which is coming from November of 2020. So we were talking about years since the price has been down around this vicinity, but $16 will be that next key level. So I'll zoom back in here, go back to the 30-minute time frame, and we can go back, and you still can't even see 16 on that time frame. But moving forward, 1780 still going to be main area of resistance, and then that $16 level, which you saw from the daily time frame, going to be that main area of support. Next one here, Ford, ticker symbol F, and when I put this line in place, I'm not trying to come across like this is a great discovery. I'm not trying to imply that this requires a special skill. I assure you a lot of people are noticing this, and I say all that because when you have very well-defined areas like we have here at 2350. I mean, check it out. 2350 a couple of times. And then once again, last 30 minutes, bounce off it once again. When you have a ton of eyeballs watching the same level, wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy. Call it whatever you want. It can produce a whole lot of, dynamic movement. And while nothing is guaranteed, my core point here is that it is more than plausible and rational to think that if the price were to come down to 23.50 and break down below it, that could create quite a bit of downward selling pressure. However, on the flip side, this is a two-sided coin. It is also more than valid to think, well, I mean, it's bounced off this level several times before, so maybe it's getting ready to bounce again. Again, no guarantees, but that is also a valid thought process to take, and why in the markets, you're always going to have people being right, you're always going to have people being wrong, and why, ultimately, that's why risk management matters. But moral of the story here is that 23.50 is a very important level, and it'll be a very monitored level moving forward, so it'll be interesting to see how the price behaves relative to it. Next one, LIXT, and I like this one just because it showed a lot of ability to move quickly today. It's a lower price stock, had great volume, and yeah, this was a pretty nasty pullback, but at least with the pullback, it seemingly has leveled out. Now, don't get me wrong, and I wish I could say trading was this easy. Just because the price went down and then went sideways does not mean that for sure guaranteed this is the bottom and that this thing's going to turn around. But is it plausible to suggest that, okay, maybe this thing's getting ready to turn around? Yeah, not guaranteed, but a plausible thought process to have. And why, in my mind, a level to keep a close eye on, going to be that trend line right there. So if the price does come up to that trend line and can get, especially if it's a high volume break of there, does it go back up there and retest those highs? I'm not necessarily suggesting that, but given the track record which showed today how fast it can move, that could present a nice little breakout opportunity there if it can get up through that trend line there. If you do like to play more so pullbacks and supports, then, the support here is just simply going back to the question of, all right, well, where did the bleeding finally stop today? And that was down there at $2.10. So keep an eye on that. So overall, if you like this price range, I think it's a quality setup worth at least keeping an eye on. Next one here, BTCS, and this goes to the whole idea with Ford and how when I draw this line, I'm not suggesting any sort of great ability, but that level right there at $4.75, I assure you a bunch of people have drawn that line. So it goes back to the whole idea of the self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, in the other ones, it was more of a, is this going to break down for the shorts or is it going to bounce for the longs? At this point, it's more of a, is this thing going to get up here and break out for those breakout players? And I know a lot of people like to play breakouts, myself included, and I know a lot of people like to play this price range. So, does that mean that the price is going to get back up to $4.75? Of course not. But if it does, you know that there's going to be a bunch of people that have noticed that exact same thing around the world that have drawn that trend line and are saying, okay, let's see if it can break up through this, general area of resistance right there. And if it does, then not guaranteed, but plausible to think that could create just that much more upside buying pressure. If you do like to play the pullbacks, well, then again, pretty straightforward level of support right down there around $4.15. But overall, got to like this one, and especially the ability to move quickly. So we'll see how it plays out on Thursday. Next one here, AMD, very popular stock. And like many of the other ones, just again, because the NASDAQ had such a rough day today, this also had a rough day. And the more interesting dynamic here I need to squeeze down is that the price is not quite there, but it is certainly entering into a very historic level as far as supports are concerned, right down here around 133. So again, this is not exact specific level, but generally speaking, you can see right here, 133 did a great job of supporting the price, did a good job of supporting the price. So if the price can drop down there more to 133, that becomes one of those areas where could you see once again another bounce? I mean, it's certainly plausible. Now, had the price never bounced from there before, and I'm sitting here saying, hey, it could bounce off 133, you'd be totally justified to say, what are you talking about, Clay? Based on what? It's never bounced off that area before. But in this situation, it has twice. So does that mean it'll bounce a third time? No. But is it plausible? Is it logical to think that way? Absolutely. So definitely keep an eye on that 133 mark. If there are any sort of attempted bounces back in the upwards direction, key area of resistance is going to be right up there at 140 and 50. But yeah, very clearly right now, a lot of downwards momentum is showing up. So the main question, at least for me, is this going to be enough downwards momentum to carry it down to 133? And if it does, how is the price going to behave down at that level? Next one here is CNSP, a lower price one that had nothing going on in the earlier part of the day, as you can see right there. And then all of a sudden this afternoon, volume came pouring in, price reacted very nicely with it. And now it's just a question of, okay, was this just a one-time pop, or is there going to be more to it? Because right now, I mean, it moved very quickly, and yeah, the price is trending downwards. But within that, we have ourselves a nice little pattern here. So let me try to get this drawn. In fact, let's just do it the old-fashioned way with a crayon. There we go. So we have there, and then we have the big momentum move right there. And this would be known as a bull flag pattern. So bullish pattern, and the whole psychology behind the pattern is, yeah, there was this big move, but now the price is dropping. But the good news is with that is it's dropping on lower volume, which is any volume analysis textbook will tell you when prices are going down, when they're consolidating, you want to see volume drop off, and that's the exact same thing here. Now, if this is just the start of something, that is not the start of something bigger, well, this is just going to drift and drift and drift. But if it is maybe just a temporary breath before another surge upwards, well, then that's where the top part of this pattern comes into play, because if the price can come up there and break up through there, that suggests that, all right, maybe this thing is turning around. Maybe this thing has another, amount of momentum left in it. So if you like to play this price range, and if you like to play these sort of bull flag patterns, then I'd say definitely get this one on your watch list. Next one, SQQQ, and this is an ETF that if you believe that the markets as a whole, specifically the NASDAQ, are going to keep on going down, then this one is going to keep on going up, and that's exactly why this one basically shot up straight today. So the whole idea here is, okay, it's come back to life. It's come back to life with big volume, but overall, I wouldn't get too excited on things. And the reason why I say that, and I need to extend this over, is because we have this big old trend line that I've talked about in past videos that is still completely in play. In fact, the price isn't anywhere even close to it. Now, does that mean that the price can't get close to it? Does that mean that the price cannot break through it? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, just because this one has spiked, I would not look, the NASDAQ, it's going to keep on collapsing. It's going to, well, I mean, maybe, but this thing does still have quite a bit of work to do before it's making any sort of impressive technical moves. And I would define impressive technical move as getting up to that trend line there and breaking up through it. But again, like I said, there's still quite a bit of wiggle room before that would even happen. So this could be a very valuable breakout. Maybe your thesis is, well, Clay, I mean, I got in because not only do I think it's going to get up to that trend line, I think it's going to break through it. And hey, good. I'm glad you have a thesis. I'm glad you're thinking for yourself. But my primary point is one day doesn't make or break a market. So yes, this thing shot up today, but does that mean that it's going to just keep shooting up, keep shooting up? I'd be a little careful with that logic there. But overall, this does give you an opportunity because I know a lot of people, they don't want to go short or whatever, but this does give you an opportunity that if you do believe the NASDAQ is going to keep falling some more, then this gives you an opportunity to make money from it, because I will repeat that. If the NASDAQ keeps going down, this keeps going up. So keep an eye on that, but got a huge surge here. And what I'm very curious about, and going back to the whole self-fulfilling prophecy thing, I'm pretty confident that a lot of people have drawn that trend line, and they're going to be wondering, can this get up to that trend line, and then can it break through it? And if it does, well, then things get pretty exciting. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool and how it should be used, how it can be used to bring structure to trading to help build consistency, then definitely get signed up for the class. It'll be Thursday, January 6th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So definitely get signed up for the free class. If you like these top 10 videos and would like for me to continue to make these, then please help me out with some communication. Hit that like button, leave a simple comment below, say hi, let me know what you traded today, let me know what you're watching tomorrow. But those two things, by hitting the like button and leaving a simple comment, communicate to me that you enjoy these top 10 videos. And as long as I know that you enjoy them, I will continue to put in the time and effort to make them. So again, if you want to learn more about technical analysis, certainly get signed up for the free class. Hit that like button, leave a simple comment below. Everybody take care. Have a good one.